If you are making money but still feel broke at the end of the month, this is the one thing standing between you and going full-time. No matter your talent, the amount of clients that you have on the list, or sample packs that you're selling, if your finances aren't managed properly, the money will disappear at the end. In our industry, nobody is teaching producers and musicians how to properly build a financial system, so that's why I'm here today. In this video, I'm going to show you the exact system that I use to manage the money into my music business so that you can always know where every dollar is going, you never get caught off guard at tax time, and you can finally build the kind of financial stability that makes going full-time actually possible. I know this works because back in 2023, when I was first filing the taxes as a business, I ended up oversaving for taxes and had a $10,000 bonus pay, which is way better than a $10,000 surprise tax bill. I used it to invest in gear, in mentorship, and I even was able to afford another trip back to France so that I could surprise my mom on her birthday. This is what having the right system feels like, and that is what becomes possible when your finances are finally under control. To make this easy, I'm going to break this down into 4 parts. Number 1 will be how I collect payments. Number 2, how I track finances every week. Number 3, the 5-account system that I use to allocate every dollar that comes in. And 4th, a quarterly habit that keeps your expenses from quietly eating your income. Let's get into it. Alright, let's start with the simplest one. I collect payment with Stripe and PayPal. I keep it simple. Stripe is my main one. It handles credit cards. It has a lot of other payments for different countries. Lots of different payment methods. It's clean, it integrates with pretty much anything, and the money lands also very fast. And then PayPal, I keep because some clients prefer it, and I don't want to lose on some sales because of payment preferences, so it's just what I have in case, but it's rare. Now, yes, I could use other tools. I could look into which ones have the best, fees thing or the littlest amount of fees. But it's not what's going to make the difference between me being able to go full-time and take care of my finances properly. So I just rather would keep it simple and not obsess over a 5 little percentage somewhere. It really doesn't matter. 2 processors maximum, everything runs through them, clean records from day one, that's all you need. Now, every time the money lands from either of those accounts, it goes straight into what I call my income account. And that's where the real system kicks in. But first, there's another step. I track my finances every single week. Every income, every expense, it's all logged and categorized inside Notion in our finance tracker. For the long time, I've done it by myself on every Sunday afternoons, which was probably the most boring hour, but also the most important for a healthy business in the green. When you know your numbers, you make better decisions, and you're not as stressed to be able to pay rent and the bills at the end of the month. So it's always better, but you also stop guessing whether you can afford something, and you also stop being surprised at the end of the month. Now, to be honest with you, now it's my EA, Roberto, who is doing this, and it saves me about an hour every single week, which is then an hour that I can put back into making music for my clients, serving my students, making content, having sales conversations, things that only I can do. Now, we track everything inside our Notion finance tracker, which is part of the Music Creator Launchpad. It's my all-in-one Notion template that I use every single day to run every aspect of my online music business. From tracking finances to client tracking, project management, content calendar, goal tracking, and more, it's all in there. So I'll leave a link in the description if you want to grab it, but the rule is simple. You cannot manage what you don't measure. So weekly finance tracking is a non-negotiable. Just add it to your calendar and treat it like a client business meeting. All right, part 3, the 5-account system. This is where it gets juicy. Just to be fair, I didn't come up with it. It comes from Profit First, which is a book by Mike Michalowicz. And it's just a variation that I adapted for myself for like an online business on what I needed. That's all. If you haven't read the book, it's a great read. Grab it. It's going to go deeper into what I'm going to show you today. But my version, as I was saying, is a little bit adapted for an online business, but the core idea stays the same. Now, here's how it works. Instead of keeping all of the money into just one account and hoping that there is anything left at the end of the month, every time that money comes in into this account, you immediately allocate it in the 4 other accounts. So account 1 is operating expenses, or OPEX. This is the account that you actually run your music business from. Team costs, tools, subscriptions, everything that it takes to do your operation day to day. Account 2 is profit. This is a percentage that is yours to keep, separate and untouched. It's not operating cash, it's a reward for doing a great job with your business. Account 3 is taxes. This one we don't have the choice, but it's money that you will owe the government. You set it aside at the moment it comes in so that you are never caught off guard at the end of the year. Trust me on this one, you really don't want to have any problem with the government. And then account 4 is the owner's compensation, or just your current personal bank. That's fine. It'll be your personal pay, aka what you actually take home and live on, not everything else. And then account 5 is a credit card. This is the one that is not in the profit first system, but I find that for us, we absolutely need to, because everything that you need to run your business online, like Zoom, Kit, your website, Splice, all of this, it all requires a credit card. And you do want to keep your business and personal expenses separate. Believe me, I'll touch on that later, but it's a mess if you don't. So I use a business credit card for all of the online purchases and subscriptions. Now, how much do you allocate to each account? It's pretty simple. As per Mike, the author of the book, anyone under 250K in annual revenue, which is where I am and probably where you're at, this is the starting point to use. Owner's pay is 50%, operating expenses is 30%, taxes is 15%, and profit is 5%. These are starting percentages, but please, adapt them on what works for you, and also depending on your country, tax amount, do your own research, right? I'm just giving you what I'm personally doing, but if I didn't do a disclaimer yet, and maybe I'll just put it at the beginning again, but this is not legal advice. This is just how I do it myself, and you can feel free to take from it for yourself. So for example, if you're just getting started, your OPEX might be lower if you don't have much expenses yet, or if you are doing something that requires already delegating or anything else, it might be higher. Again, you are free to adapt it, but if you are scaling, you'll want to protect your profit more aggressively, for example. But what it means basically is that today, if I received $1,000, 500 would go to my personal bank account, 300 would go to my OPEX, 150 would go to my tax account, and 50 would go to my profit account. And then repeat that every time you get a payment. Every day that I receive a payment, that's what I do. Now, there's a few extra things that I want you to be aware of once you have this set up. First, use your OPEX account to pay off your credit card. This is why I put it under in the diagram. Second, and it's recommended in the Profit First book, is to keep your taxes and profit account completely separate from your business bank, so that you don't dip in it when things are rough and you need some money. So basically, your OPEX, your income is going to be at one bank, your profit and your taxes is going to be at another bank, and then your personal account, depending on where it is probably also going to be at another bank. So you probably need 3 banks. That's what I have, at least. But the idea is that you want to separate the tax and profit so that you don't dip in it, because you cannot steal from the government or from yourself. And the friction of having it on another bank will allow you to not do that. And then finally, again, not a legal advice, obviously, but get an accountant at year end. Personally, I don't want to get any trouble with the government, and I don't have the time to learn into all of this. So I'd rather just pay an accountant. I think it costs me like 300 or 400 Canadian dollars every year. I just want them to do it. It's safer. I have more peace of mind. They probably know more than me on what to do, what not to do, and things like that. So yeah, peace of mind is just better, and they'll probably catch things that you won't. So just a quick little advice. And then part 4, every quarter, I go through every single subscription that I have and do an audit. Meaning that I ask myself for every one of them, am I getting an ROI? Not like, am I using it often, but like, am I getting an ROI from it? If the tool, the subscription, the hire doesn't give me an ROI for the business, which stands for return on investment, then I cut it. It is super easy for expenses to actually pile up, one little here, one little here, one little there. It just piles up. So every quarter, do an audit to make sure that you keep your expenses lean, and run your business lean, because at the beginning, you really cannot afford to go over 30%, as we saw. So it's just if your expenses are over 30%, something has to be cut off. No exception. Now, this quarterly audit might take 30 minutes, maybe even less, but it's gonna pay for itself, believe me. All right, so now before you go, here's your homework for this video. Number 1, set up your 5 different bank accounts. It might take some time, can take weeks, if not months, depending on the bank. It took me some months myself as well to find the right bank, the right account, changing all of this. There were some mistakes as well with my middle name, so I had to go back. Anyway, I hope it's simpler for you, but it is worth spending the time. Honestly, it's so good to have this system. Before that, it was so messy, especially having my business and personal expenses separate completely is so much better. Even for your own personal money management, it's just way better. So take the time to do that, please. Number 2, start tracking your income and expenses weekly. Depending on how much transfer there is in your music business, for example, if you're at the very beginning, you might be able to get away with monthly or bi-weekly, but if you are, pretty much full-time or past that, you need to do that weekly, if not daily. Now, as I said before, if you want a system that is already set up with all the automations, you are free to download the Music Creator Launchpad, which has the finance tracker and more in it, but at least put the time in your calendar on Sundays to do the weekly finances. And then optional, but if you want, read the Profit First book. It's right here for me. It's a really great read. It'll honestly shift the way you think about money management in your music business, so I think it's a good read. And if this video was useful, please feel free to share it with another music creator, because believe me, they probably need that system. But in the meantime, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next one.